Welcome to the Liberating River, where spiritual freedom meets soul aligned wealth. I'm Wanda. Money is one of the most common sources of conflict in romantic relationships. Yet most couples misunderstand what they are actually arguing about. On the surface, it looks like disagreements. Disagreements about spending, saving, financial priorities. But underneath those conversations lies something much deeper: emotional safety, identity, and internal regulation. When couples argue about money, they are rarely debating numbers. They are navigating feelings they may not even have the language to express. Think about how quickly a simple financial discussion can escalate. Think about it. One partner asks about a purchase, and suddenly the conversation shifts into defensiveness, frustration, or withdrawal. That shift does not happen because of numbers itself. It happens because money touches deeply personal, psychological territory. It brings up questions like: am I safe? Am I respected? Am I in control? Am I valued? This is why financial conversations feel heavier than they should. They are not just practical discussions, they are emotional exchanges layered with past experiences, beliefs, and fears. According to research from the American Psychological Association, money is consistently reported as a top source of stress in relationships, not because of financial hardship alone, but because of how individuals emotionally interpret financial situations. Understanding this changes everything. Instead of trying to fix financial disagreements as we do with better budgeting tools or stricter rules, couples can begin addressing the real issue. What is the real issue? How each person experiences money emotionally. Once you recognize that money is a trigger rather than the root of the problem, you stop trying to control outcomes and start improving communication. This is where emotional maturity enters the picture. Financial maturity is not just about making good decisions, it is about having the capacity to stay regulated while making those decisions together. This means listening without reacting, expressing concerns without attacking, and navigating differences without escalating into conflict. When couples begin to approach money this way, something shifts. Conversations become less about proving a point and more about understanding each other. And in that space, financial clarity becomes possible. Not because the numbers changed, but because the emotional environment did. Until you understand that, you will keep trying to fix numbers when the real issue is nervous system regulation. As I said, money conflicts are not just about money. It sounds almost counterintuitive at first, but hear me out. How can arguments about money not be about money? I get it. I understand. But if you look closely at most financial disagreements, you will notice a pattern. The argument may start with a specific issue. Sure. Spending too much, saving too little, or disagreeing on priorities. Understood. But it quickly expands to something more personal. This happens because money acts as a symbolic amplifier. It magnifies underlying emotions that may have nothing to do with the actual transaction. For instance, one partner's spending may represent freedom or reward. Another It may represent danger or loss. When those interpretations clash, what happens? The disagreement is no longer about the purchase. You know that's what happens. Now it's about meaning. Think about it. If one partner makes a large purchase without consulting the other, what happens? On the surface, the issue is the purchase itself. But underneath, and that's where we have to go, underneath, one partner may feel disrespected or excluded when the other may feel controlled or restricted. Both reactions are valid within their own emotional frameworks. That's the thing. But without awareness or understanding that, the couple collides. And there goes the argument. This is why simply focusing on the behavior, that spending less or communicating more, rarely resolves the issue. It treats the symptom, not the cause. The real work involves uncovering the emotional associations each partner has with money and learning how to navigate them together. In many cases, these emotional associations are formed early in life. If you grew up in financial instability, you may associate money with survival thinking. And that leads to heightened sensitivity around spending. If you grew up in abundance, you may view money as a tool for enjoyment, leading to a more relaxed approach. Neither, listen clearly, neither perspective is inherently wrong. But without understanding each other, they can create friction. The key is not to eliminate the differences, but to make them visible and discussable. When couples can name what money represents to them emotionally, they move from conflict to collaboration. They stop arguing about who is right and start exploring what is true for each person. That shift is what transforms financial conversations from the battlefields into opportunities for connection. So let's dissect this. Every financial disagreement has an emotional undercurrent, and those undercurrents are often rooted in past experiences. Money has a unique ability to activate memories, beliefs, and fears that operate below your conscious awareness. They bring up past emotional experiences. That is why reactions can feel disproportionate to the situation. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Where it's like, how did this get out of control? This is why. A small expense can trigger a large emotional response, not because of its financial impact, but because of what it represents psychologically. Some of the most common emotional triggers tied to money, you know what it includes. You could probably say it. Say it with me. Fear of instability. Will we be okay? Fear of loss of control. Am I being restricted? Fear of judgment. Am I being seen as irresponsible? Fear of inadequacy. Am I not contributing enough? Fear of dependence. Am I losing autonomy? Those fears do not always show up directly. Honestly, they only manifest as behaviors. And those behaviors are triggered based on circumstances. So, what happens? Defensiveness, avoidance, criticism, withdrawal. Without awareness, partners may interpret these behaviors as personality flaws rather than emotional responses. Think about it. Let's really sit and think about it. Someone who avoids financial conversations may not be indifferent. They may be experiencing shame or anxiety tied to money. Someone who insists on strict control over finances may not be domineering. They may be trying to create a sense of safety in an environment that feels mm, unpredictable. Recognizing those patterns requires emotional literacy. It requires the ability to pause and ask the questions rather than reacting automatically and judging. This is where many couples struggle. Emotional triggers feel urgent, and urgency often leads, where does it lead to? Reaction rather than reflection. But when couples learn to slow down and explore what is underneath their reaction, they gain access to a deeper level of communication. Let's be honest. Let's really be honest. When two people enter a romantic relationship, they are not starting from a blank slate. I don't care how much we say, don't come into a relationship with baggage. You are always coming with luggage. One suitcase, two suitcases, three suitcases, might be a trunk full, might be a truck full. You're always going to come with something because those baggages has helped to make you who you are. So those luggages and baggages, those are years worth, sometimes decades worth of experiences, beliefs, and conditionings. So they're coming with stuff. And as they come with things, they are also coming with how they think about money, how they respond to financial stress, and how they communicate about resources. Most of this operates unconsciously, which is often why it goes unexamined until conflict arises. Each partner carries what could be described as financial baggage or luggage, but not in a negative sense. It is simply the accumulation of past experiences that shape present behavior, just like everything else you experience in your life. And just like everything else you experience in your life, this includes childhood conditioning. What did you see as a kid? Exposure to financial stability or instability, cultural beliefs, and of course, your personal experience with earning, spending, and saving. These patterns do not disappear when a relationship begins. It doesn't go down the toilet, it comes with you. They come into the relationship and interact with the other person's patterns. This interaction can either create alignment or friction. It all depends on how aware each partner is of their own conditioning. Stay tuned. To be continued, coming next week.